What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of Player Ratings as we lost to Mura in the Europa Conference League yesterday, 2-1 out in Slovenia in a very embarrassing defeat. Some are saying probably the most embarrassing defeat in our history, or definitely our recent history anyway, that's for sure. You know, definitely up there with the kind of Grimsby's and Colchesters and League Two fodder that we've lost to in the last 10-15 years, but it's definitely up there, that's for sure. But let's not dwell too much on that, and let's get into the player ratings. And let's start off with Pier, Luigi, Gallini, 5s all round from us. I mean, couldn't do much with the goals and had very little to do apart from the goals, but he did seem a bit shaky at times, but not going to put him too much down on that.
Yeah, I mean, he flapped a one corner, which ended up not causing him much trouble. But as you say, the goals couldn't do much about. One of them, the first one right in the corner, second one took a big deflection, and it looped over him. The only thing I'd say is he didn't dive for either one, which for optics never looks good. But other than that, didn't have too much to do, unfortunately, throughout the game. It wasn't like Mura had loads of chances. It was just they had pretty much had 2 chances and scored 2 goals.
Let's move over to Japhet Tanganga. Sim gives him a 4. I give him a 5. I mean, he changed positions about 3 times within the game. Started off as a right centre-back, then moved over to left-back, then moved over to right-back. But I thought his defensive display was okay. But when he was pushed up high off the pitch, when he was at right wing-back, I mean, he was quite high up the pitch, but there was just no quality whatsoever in terms of going forward.
Yeah, I thought on the ball he didn't look too comfortable. I thought he actually looked okay when he was on the left-hand side, funnily enough, but when he was on the right-hand side, he looked less comfortable, which was weird. But Japhet, if he really wants to be part of Conte's back three, he needs to get a lot more composure on the ball and needs to be able to step into midfield with a lot more effectiveness and improve his passing. Otherwise, he's not going to be a player that Conte can rely on.
Let's move over to Davinson Sanchez, 2s all round from us, and I thought it was horrific, a horror show from Davinson Sanchez last night. 2 mistakes that cost 2 goals. The first one, you know, we were talking on the stream saying we'll kind of let him off because he slipped, but he did the exact same thing for the second goal without slipping. So, I mean, absolutely a horror show from Davinson Sanchez last night. Apart from those 2 moments, I thought he defended okay on a whole. Terrible on the ball, just shocking display after, you know, he's been coming in for a lot of praise this season.
Yeah, I think him on that left-hand side of the defence was, he looked so uncomfortable there, and it got shown twice when he got cut inside. I think the second goal especially, I mean, the only thing he had to do was stop him cutting inside. Just one thing he had to do with a few seconds to go was stop the player, literally stop the player cutting inside, and he couldn't do that. And yeah, I think I don't know if it went down as an own goal or not, but the shot was going wide, so it probably should go down as an own goal as well. But really terrible piece of defending from Sanchez. He didn't look comfortable all day long. I thought when he was tasked of getting the ball down and trying to start attacks, he just seemed so uncomfortable, and he seemed so unnatural to him to be passing the ball forward from that position, and it just didn't look comfortable all day. And there's definitely a step backwards in how the Tottenham fans are perceiving him at the moment, because he was having a decent time of it for most of the season, but when he's putting in performances like that, you get reminded of all the other bad performances he does, and then you got thinking, oh man, we paid 40 million for this guy and he can't even defend against Mura. So really poor display from Sanchez, and we just don't want to see him on the left-hand side ever again.
Move over to Joe Rodon, the last of the back 3. Ooh, you gave him a 3. I gave him a 5. He got hooked early in the second half, where I thought maybe Sanchez was maybe the more likely one to go off, but he did take off Rodon instead of Sanchez. He did have one iffy moment in the first half when he was caught out by the Mura attack, but apart from that, I thought he defended okay on a whole.
No, I thought he was poor. I thought it was poor overall for me, Joe Rodon. It wasn't so much defensively. I thought his passing was absolutely woeful. Every time he was playing it long, it was to no one. Out of play, going out for goal kicks every time. And for a player who wants to prove himself as a player who wants to fight for the first team, he did himself no favours at all in this display, in my opinion. Look, you can say defensively did okay, and that's probably true, but you know, you're playing Mura. He should be okay defensively. That's not where the challenge comes. The challenge comes when you have to do line breaking passes and forward passes and be able to have composure on the ball, and in those things he was lacking, in my opinion. So, you know, I got a taste of maybe why he's been left out recently, to be honest.
Let's move over to our right wing back, Matt Doherty. Threes all round from us. Loose touches, astray passes, terrible on the ball, literally terrible on the ball. He got into good positions on that right-hand side, but failed to do literally anything with it and got hooked early in the second half, and rightly so.
Yeah, and when, you know, he's probably had more attacking freedom he's had a lot of games recently, Matt Doherty, and he was wondering, you know, what can he do with it? There's always a big question mark. Can he do something when he's given more freedom going forward, like he did in the Wolves shirt? And again, he's been found wanting. Again, he had opportunities to make a difference, and the quality just wasn't there time and time again in the final third. And it's getting to the point where you're just feeling it's never going to come with Doherty, is it? This quality.
No.
I don't know how Nuno got any sort of ability out of him at Wolves, because we've just not seen an ounce of it at Tottenham at the moment. And another opportunity gone for him.
Yeah. Which moves us on to Ryan Cessnian, who played left wing back. Sim gives him a 2. I gave him a 1. Could only last half an hour on the pitch. You know, it was his big chance. It was his big chance to show Conte what he's all about, to, you know, put himself in the conversation for the first team. And he literally did the complete opposite. He didn't really show anything when he was on the pitch, and 2 stupid yellow cards, clumsy yellow cards. And he got himself sent off within half an hour of his big break. So that's why I've given him a 1.
Yeah, Conte was bigging him up. He was bigging himself up pre-game, and unfortunately, he didn't take his chance whatsoever. To not even last half an hour is shambolic, and not only that, it's just 2 stupid challenges. I mean, the first one, he's stopping a counter, but, you know, he should be able to get the right side of him instead of clipping his heels. And the second one is just, when you're on a yellow, how can you be diving in like that when you're on a yellow card? It's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And it's such a shame, because I really thought he could maybe take this opportunity to prove himself to the manager and show why he wants to be in the first team. But to not even last half an hour and to be sent off is a massive blow to him, and a massive blow for people who've backed him as well. So hopefully we'll learn from it. But maybe it's just a case of him trying too hard when finally being given a chance or something like that. So it's just a shame that that he wasn't able to prove anything and not even last half an hour, but he'll learn from it, hopefully.
Let's move on to Ollie Skip. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 6. Definitely one of the better players on the day. Was working tirelessly in the middle of the park. He did have quite a few sloppy touches and sloppy passes. Set up Kane in the first half. But, you know, like I said, one of our better players, but it's not saying much really. But he was working very hard in the middle of the park. Working hard,
but and looking forward, but also quite sloppy at times as well. He's one of our better players, but that doesn't say, as you say, it doesn't say much. But I think he did try hard. I think he was working hard in the centre. He won the ball back a few times, but when given the opportunity to stride forward and get the ball forward, I thought a few times he had a bit of a lack of quality, which was a shame.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the only ones. Well, not one of the only ones, but he was one of the ones kind of driving forward in that second half, but to little quality, really. Let's move on to Tanguy Ndombele. 4 from Sim, a 5 from me. Really nice ball over the top to Gil early on, where Gil sliced it. In the first half, he tried to drive the team forward. Probably one of the only ones, definitely the only one in the first half trying to drive the team forward, but with little success, little quality. When he would beat a man, then probably pretty much lose the ball after trying to go past the next one. Taken off with 15 minutes to go, but I think he weired out the game within the second half.
Yeah, and I was, again, disappointed with Tanguy. Yes, he was one of the only ones trying to play forward, which is true, but there was just not enough quality there, unfortunately, for me. His passing was too loose and sloppy. There was lack of care when he was taking the ball forward. In the second half, he started to lose possession quite a bit too easily for my liking. And again, another performance where I thought he was going to take this game by the scruff of the neck, like we've seen him do a million times in these kind of games, but he didn't quite do it in this one, unfortunately, for me. Then apart from a few flashy moments, wasn't able to really impact the game as much as he should be.
Yeah, definitely. Dele Alli, 2s all round from us. Another shocking display from Dele. Contributed next to nothing whilst on the pitch. Hooked early in the second half. And yeah, literally, I've got nothing to say on him because he literally produced absolutely nothing. I don't remember one positive thing he did on the pitch yesterday. All he did was lose the ball.
Yeah, pretty much. It's really, really poor performance from Dele. Again, another player who you're thinking hopefully can show a bit more in this game to show that he wants to play under Conte, but he's playing in a front three with Kane and Gil. And he just didn't, no shots, no through balls, no passes. He made like maybe one dribble I can remember on the left hand side, which didn't lead to anything. No nutmegs even. Just a complete no-show again from Dele, losing the ball way too often, way too sloppy in possession as well, dawdling on the ball for so long that he just gets caught in dangerous areas. I mean, it was just a shambolic performance from Dele.
And in like the first start under Conte for Dele Alli, he pretty much just proved all the other managers right, pretty much with that performance. But Bryan Gil, 4 from Sim, 5 from me. I thought Bryan Gil early on looked dangerous. He sliced that chance, which he really should have done better from. He was very busy throughout that first half. He was creating a few like half chances at best, but then got hooked early in the second half.
Yeah, another player who I thought was doing some good things, but unfortunately didn't lead to much throughout the game. He did some nice dribbles, which one of them led to a yellow card for one of the Mura players. But again, like he did okay, but just not enough in terms of actually impacting the game in the final third. Too easily dispossessed, not really creating any chances. The one time he does get away from the Mura defenders, he blazes it over the bar with a really poor finish. So. Look, I still think this is a very talented kid with a lot of potential, but still quite raw, I think.
Yeah. Moving on to Harry Kane next. Well, it says Heung-min Son, but Harry Kane, 5s all round. I mean, felt like he really wasn't on his game yesterday, especially in that first half. I mean, struggled to get into the game with sloppy touches, heavy passing. Did step up in the second half, to be fair. Took his goal really well with a lovely dink over the keeper. But did have 2 or 3 chances within the game, which he really should have done better, but definitely nowhere near a Harry Kane display, which we've been used to seeing over the last couple of years. Maybe more used to what we've been seeing this season, though. Yeah,
when it comes to Kane, I thought he was sloppy. A lot of the time his touches were quite bad, but a few times I do feel like he was trying to do it all by himself, and like he had no support, very isolated a lot of the time. And I felt like, there were a few chances, for example, in the first half where he's engineering a shot for himself and it goes just wide and he's just trying things. Obviously he did get the goal, really nice finish in the second half to drag us back into the game, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. And obviously by his high standards the performance wasn't good enough, but he was one of the only players on the pitch who actually trying to force the issue a bit and trying to drag the team forward. Unfortunately, we ended up losing, and obviously in his high standards, he definitely wasn't anywhere near as good as he should be, but he was by no means the worst player on the pitch, for sure.
No. Let's move on to Ben Davies. 5 from Sim, 4 from me. Pushed up high up the pitch, but with no real quality going forward, to be honest. But he did find himself a lot in the opposition half, quite far into the opposition half. It was his slip that kind of let Mura have that counter-attack and break away for their goal. But that doesn't excuse, obviously, Davinson Sanchez and his horrific mistake. But, yeah, not much in there from Ben Davies, to be fair.
Yeah, came on to play at left back and into the left centre back, which he's a lot more comfortable in, and got forward a few times, but wasn't able to really create anything. Defensively, I thought he did a decent job by and large. So I thought it was a standard show from Davis at the end of the day.
Which moves us on to Lucas Mura. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 6. It was his pass that found Kane. I mean, a bit of luck to it, a bit of fortune to it.
That's what I thought, yeah.
And did provide a couple of his driving runs, but ultimately couldn't really find a way through. But I did think that when he came on, he did provide a bit more energy for us in the middle of the park.
Yeah, that's what he brings, Lucas Mura. He brings energy with his dribbling and his pace. Unfortunately, yeah, he did get the pass, which I wasn't 100% certain it was intended for Kane, the way I look at it. But it did get through to him and obviously end up scoring. But yeah, it's what Lucas brings. He brings that dribbling ability and that willingness to commit players, which was very vital when you're down to 10 men. You need to definitely take some players out of the game, and that's what he was all right at. And he earned a few free kicks, but ultimately wasn't really able to, apart from the pass to Kane, wasn't able to do too much in the final third.
Which moves us on to Heung-min Son. 5s all round from us. I mean, straight away after he came on, he did a really nice run, beating 2 or 3 Mura players and finding himself in the box. But apart from that, really, couldn't really notice him yesterday. I don't think he did much apart from that. And that was literally a few seconds after he came on.
Yeah, it's true. He was working very hard to try and win the ball back and stuff like that. But when given the opportunity to really impact the game in the final third, maybe beat a man and get a shot off or anything like that, wasn't able to do so with any real effectiveness apart from that one run where he did, well, it was a bit of a Ricky Villa run, that one. Yeah. But unfortunately the strike was too straight at the keeper. But want to see more from Sonny. And I feel like we've been saying that a few times the past few games. Sonny seems his performances seem to be decreasing a bit, unfortunately.
And finally, Antonio Conte, 5s all round from us. I mean, he would have learned a lot about his fringe players last night, that's for sure. I'm not going to talk too much about his in-game management and his tactics because I think the players were just that poor yesterday, and I want to stick it on the players, and I want to leave Conte out of this one, to be honest.
Yeah, well, in terms of lineup or anything, I don't think you can complain too much about the lineup he put out. He definitely put our lineup good enough to beat Mura, just the players' application. Then also, obviously, when you go down to 10 men, from a manager's point of view, it becomes very, very difficult to manage the game. And I think he did okay in terms of moving to a back 4, and we got back to 1-1, and we actually looked better with 10 men in a weird way. But you can't legislate for defending like we did in the last minute, and a draw actually in the grand scheme of the group and stuff would have been a good result. Couldn't even do that at the end of the day, and he'll be tearing his toupee out after what happened. But hopefully he'll learn from it. He'll learn a lot about a lot of these players in terms of where they're at the moment and what they're capable of, and he'll learn a lot from it. But it's a difficult day for him, and you can see in this press conference how I think even he was shocked about how poor a lot of these players are and how the level they're at, and hopefully he can learn where the squad needs improvement and what he needs to do in January.
Literally everywhere.
That's what I said, everything.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is our player ratings. I want to know your opinions. I want to know your player ratings in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.